Hello there, my RPG lovers, and welcome to another video. Sacred 2 Remaster came out in November 2025 on PC and consoles.
That's all you have to offer?
The reviews for this remaster version were not so good, to say the least. They certainly got better over time, and the game sits on mixed now, but I think it started off as mostly negative actually. The remaster was missing some of the features from the original game, and it also had some technical issues upon release. I talked about some of these problems in my review and all of the issues I personally had with the remaster. If I remember correctly, my biggest issue was the constant crashes to desktop, and it was extremely annoying. But when I jumped back into the game the other day, I had a couple of pretty long play sessions without any crashes. Some other problems that I mentioned in the review are also fixed, but not all of them. My review was focusing a lot on showcasing some of the key differences between the remaster and the old version of Sacred 2. They had to rewrite the engine for 64-bit systems, the improved graphical settings and high resolutions now work properly, there are no scaling issues with the menus, there's a new UI and controller support, and so on. If you want to learn about all major and small changes in this remaster, I highly suggest watching my original review. This video is about all of the updates and patches we got in the last 6 months. Some of the features from the original game were missing, like the 5th slot for the weapons and spells, or more importantly the free play modes. I honestly didn't care that much about some of these missing features, except the free play modes. But a lot of people did, especially die-hard Sacred 2 fans who still prefer the OG gold version of the game. You can install some great mods and the community patches, which substantially improves the general experience. If you're just getting into Sacred 2, you will get both of these versions of the game if you decide to buy the remaster on Steam. They come in a bundle for $20 when you buy the remaster. It kinda sucks that you can't buy the old version without having to buy the remaster, but I hope they never change this bundle so that OG version gets preserved. Putting that aside, let's talk about Sacred 2 Remaster once again. Did it improve after 6 months of constant updates? Let's find out.
That was easy.
Free play mode has to be one of the most requested features, and I have no idea why this wasn't in the game from the very beginning. Sacred 2 has a campaign mode, which is your default gameplay mode that most people will play. You can select between the light and shadow campaigns, which had slight differences between the quests, and follow the main quest until you beat the game. So for example, once you kill a boss in the campaign mode, he will be gone for good, you won't be able to kill him again even if you restart the game. In other words, they don't respawn. A lot of NPCs will still respawn, but not the main quest bosses. Free play mode allowed you to grind bosses basically, which is a great way to get the gear you want and more XP. It would also disable the main quest completely, you're not able to progress the main story in the free play modes. You would only have the access to side content in the game, which is still plentiful in Sacred 2, but you could essentially roam the world with even greater freedom. And even though side quests would completely reset, you can repeat them endlessly if you choose to do so. Free play mode also has some special side quests that you won't find in the campaign modes, and those quests have been added in one of the patches. Sacred 2 Open World gives you a lot of freedom no matter which mode you choose, and it's one of the main selling points of this game. The campaign is a more linear experience, but the free play mode will throw you on a special little island. This island allows you to teleport to all major biomes in the game by using these portals. It's a pretty cool cave with small pieces of each zone that you can teleport to. Even though Sacred 2 will scale up the creatures to your level, or at least close to it, this game still has fixed levels for NPCs depending on the zone. So even though you can technically go to some higher level zones in the free play mode as a low level character, it's not the best idea. But you get the picture, the free play mode gives you even more freedom and flexibility in general, and a better replay value. It's a great fit for grinding levels, clearing side content, fighting bosses, getting better gear, and just exploring this massive open world. However, you still need to beat the game in the campaign mode to unlock stronger difficulties because you need to do main quests. If you want to try out this gameplay mode, you can select it before you enter the game with your characters. I like to leave it for later when I beat the game on silver difficulty and unlock stronger difficulties. The free play mode has been added in patch 3, which came out in December of 2025. PS5 users also got this mode, but they had to wait for the next patch, unfortunately. This gameplay mode was the biggest deal in patch 3, but it also had a ton of small fixes, like pretty much all of these patches. I'm just going to cover the biggest features and what I consider to be the most interesting. Speaking of which, we're going to fast forward to patch 5, which came out recently, or to be more specific, on May 6th, which is around 10 days before I uploaded this video. This is a massive patch, which brought back some of the missing features and improved the gameplay with the controller quite a bit. Patch 5 added the 5th combat art slot and the 5th weapon slots. Yeah, it's one of those features which should have been in the remaster from the very beginning, but better late than never, right? To be honest with you, I never felt the need to use that many different weapon slots on one character, but I will never say no to an extra slot. I still fill them up, but rarely use more than 2 or sometimes 3 weapon slots. What's really cool about Sacred's 2 gameplay and skills, most of them can work with various weapon types. So for example, if you're getting bored of playing as a ranged character, you can use the same skills with a melee weapon type if you wish, as long as your character class can equip it. Skills are called weapon arts in this game, by the way. But having an extra combat art slot is much more important if you ask me, and this patch added that as well. We have 5 in total now in the remaster, just like in the original game. Even with the combo system that Sacred 2 has, which allows you to cast a lot of combat arts together with one button, I always end up wanting more slots, for at least one more combat art that I want to try out, if not for a full combo. So yeah, it's cool to see these extra slots once again in the game. Speaking of extra slots, relics and potions got a similar treatment. Relics now have 4 slots in total. Relics are items which can give you various defense stats, and having different combinations of these stats that you can change with the press of a button can be pretty useful in some situations. As for the potions, you can see from the UI that now we have a bunch of potion slots that we can use. If you're playing with a controller, you have to double tap the left D-pad to switch between them and tap the same button once to use the selected potion. Putting the extra slots aside, patch 5 also brought some amazing changes to controller gameplay, which makes me really happy because I played the remaster almost exclusively with the controller.
You annoying little creatures.
Mostly because I thought it'd be fun to experience the game like that after playing the original game for so many hours with mouse and keyboard. Anyway, the controller got a brand new feature called Quick Cast. It's not exactly completely new because the old game had this feature for mouse and keyboard as well as the remaster, but it's a brand new feature for controllers. Quick Cast for controllers makes the gameplay much smoother in general. Before this update, you would have to switch the spell or a combo with one button, then press the cast button to use it. You can still play the game like this if you prefer. However, the Quick Cast makes the combat much faster if you decide to use it. In order to use it, you can hold right trigger and press one of the following buttons to quickly cast the combat art that's assigned to that slot. Simple as that. Here's what's really cool about the Quick Cast system. After you quick cast a combat art or a combo, the selection reverts back to combat art that was active before the Quick Cast. So for example, if you have a favorite combat art that you use all the time, you never even have to move the selection to other combat arts and still use the Quick Cast system. The old style of selecting combat arts and combos is still viable, so if you don't want to use the Quick Cast system, that's completely fine. But I highly suggest using this feature because it will make the combat much smoother, whether you're using mouse and keyboard or a controller.
How do you like the taste of your own blood?
Selecting different weapons works in a similar way. Now you can quickly switch to an equipped weapon by holding down the left trigger and pressing one of the following buttons. So yeah, it's a great little update which makes the gameplay with the controller a bit smoother and snappier. The latest patch changed how the game pauses as well. The game will now pause every time you open a menu screen. I totally forgot this was even a thing in the game, to be honest. I actually prefer when the game keeps playing in the background when you open menus, just because I think it's a little bit more immersive, but it's like whatever to me. The readability on Steam Deck has also been improved in this latest patch. It also brought a lot more smaller fixes, and I suggest reading the full patch notes for the full info. Patch 4 has addressed one of the issues that I mentioned in my review. You could basically teleport with the jumping ability if you were using a mount. It was a very cheesy way to travel even faster, but now it's fixed, and I kind of miss this glitch. I got used to abusing it, I guess. Patch 4 also improved the icons on each and every rune in the game. 108 rune icons to be more specific. Reading these patch notes confused me for a second because my name is Marco, by the way. And this is actually a mod from a guy called Marco, which they decided to include in the game because it's so good. Marco's Sacred 2 rune icons. In January, they released the patch for the beta branch of the game, which is great news for modding supports. The extensive post for this patch goes in greater depth about console commands and cheats. The original game had some amazing mods, like I said before, and hopefully the remaster will eventually catch up. If you check out the Nexus mod page for the remaster, you can already find some nice mods, but nothing too crazy yet. And if you check out the full patch notes from all of these patches, you'll find a ton of other fixes and improvements. However, some of the problems I mentioned in the review are still not fixed. Walking towards water is still going to give your character much faster speed, and NPC's pet finding can still be a bit buggy. The remaster definitely improved a lot, but I'm not surprised that some people still prefer to stick with the original game. But I hope we'll even get to see more support for this new version of Sacred 2 in the future. It's a game that they deeply care about. Anyway, I hope this video was useful if you plan to check out the game. Tell me your opinion about Sacred 2 Remaster in the comments below. There is a new pixel art Sacred game coming out, and maybe even more Sacred projects in the future. And I'll be here to cover everything Sacred related, so stick around. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. And if you want to go a step further, consider supporting your boy by becoming a YouTube channel member or a Patreon. Huge thanks to all my current supporters, and I'll see ya in the next one.